Welcome to Real Talk, Real Women. My name is Miriam Khalladi, and today we have certified personal trainer Nissa Salas on the show. Welcome, Nissa. How are you?
Thank you so much, Miriam. I'm wonderful.
Thank you so much for your time, Nissa.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on this show. I feel honored.
You're most welcome. You have an incredible story, and I want to dive straight into it. At the age of 28, you were told you had benign fibroid tumors in your uterus, which you decided not to operate in an attempt to heal yourself naturally. What was it like to hear that news, and what made you decide to go the natural?
Very good question. I get that. That's actually the first time someone's ever asked me that. I was told, you're correct, at the age of 28 that I had benign fibroid tumors, and I was told that I had several. And at that time, the news was delivered to me by a doctor that was new to me, and I was very scared. So the manner in which she told me the news didn't really sit well, and I pretty much got scared and decided, I'm just going to do it by myself. She recommended surgery right away. And I had just been married to my husband. Now I've been with him for 11 years. We've been married. And so at 28, I naturally was wanting to have children. I was excited, and we had only been married about maybe 4 or 5 months when that horrible news was delivered to me that I may or may not be able to have children. So that was kind of the driving force behind my decision making at the time. I decided, I'll bet there's something that I can do better for myself, and I can possibly look at some ways of naturally healing myself. And if that is what God wants me to do, then I'll go forward with that plan. So I did. I went and got a lot of information. And by the way, I was overweight. I was about 200 pounds. And the information I researched said one way to shrink fibroid tumors is through nutrition and exercise and natural weight loss methods. So I thought that was exciting at that time, and I got to work. So I picked up my first ever workout book, and I followed the method, and I lost 30 pounds. And I did that by myself, which really knocked my socks off. I wasn't a personal trainer, and I was actually a school teacher with no fitness background whatsoever. When that 3 month period of that program ended, I just kind of went back to my horrible eating habits, and I ate a lot of processed foods and non-nutritious meals, thinking, "Oh, I'm at my goal." Well, it's interesting because most people gain weight all over their body when they do gain weight, and at that point, having had those tumors, they were still there, but they actually shrunk. Instead of my body gaining weight, it was weird because the tumors blew up. So, in a very short period of time, I grew a stomach that was the equivalent of a pregnancy. I looked pregnant, and I actually wasn't. And what ended up happening was I kept trying different methods. Like, okay, so when my stomach started visibly growing, I thought, wow, okay, well, let's see if I can shrink this like I did before. However, at this point, I wasn't overweight. I wasn't 200 pounds per se like I had been before, but I was a decent size overall, but just with this big stomach. And at that point, it was just too late. And I spent, believe it or not, another additional 6 years trying to get rid of these tumors like I had done before. But by then, it was beyond my control, and it was definitely beyond the control of nutrition. Now, I will say this: I did shrink them and grow them, but they were just huge. I looked humongous pregnant. And it was funny. I don't want to say it was funny. It was interesting how, with no nutrition background and no fitness background, I could shrink my stomach visibly and I could grow it. But it was sad because no matter what I did, I couldn't get my stomach back down all the way to normal.
Eventually, the mass grew to 10 pounds, and in 2010, five doctors removed the tumor in an attempt to save your life. What do you remember from the day?
Oh my goodness. I really love sharing my story, and I want to say thank you again for allowing me to do this because it's incredible how I waited so long. I would not recommend anyone ignoring their doctors. And ultimately, if you don't get along with a certain doctor, you don't like their recommendations, by all means, go find another doctor. Don't just ignore your health and just try to do it on your own because you'll end up in trouble. I ended up in big trouble. My stomach looked like I was carrying twins, and it looked like I had 9 months of pregnancy. And it was really a difficult thing. I finally just said, I can't do this anymore, and I just kind of gave it up to my creator and said, whether I'm able to have children or not, I don't know. At this point, I'm getting ready to lose my life, so I put my life in your hands. And I went to a doctor that I had seen who recommended surgery as well. And he was one of the nicest people ever. And he just says, he accepted me. He didn't criticize me. I had seen him 2 years prior, and my stomach had not bulged. It hadn't grown. It hadn't shrunk. And I couldn't do anything to heal myself. He was just so kind to me. So this doctor, he's here in Dallas, and his name is Dr. Carlos. Dr. Carlos assembled a team, and the entire team had 5 doctors. And pretty much he put me in the hospital right away. And the phenomenal thing about Dr. Carlos is he is a spiritual gentleman, and that is what called out to me. And what's really amazing is that he prayed over me. My life was fully in God's hands and his hands at that time. They put me under the anesthesia, and the 5 doctors removed the 10-pound mass. I had a partial hysterectomy. And when I woke up 4 hours later, I'm drugged up. I hadn't had any food. They had to completely take me off food. They had to clean out my system prior to operating. And I was in severe amount of pain. And they wheeled me to my original room. My husband was there, and my mother was there. And Miriam, at that time, I was actually almost dying. I don't want to say almost. I actually was dying because here I am just fading in and out of consciousness. And my heart it was amazing because I know my heart's over here, but I was feeling this blood pressure right here on the side of my chest. And what was happening was the nurse could not I couldn't sustain my own blood pressure. My blood pressure reading was 35 systolic. So that means I was dying. And the way I felt was I just felt out of control. There's nothing I could do. And I'm laying there. And the nurse is frantic. And she goes and gets the doctor who just basically was removing his gear, his gloves. And he was just getting ready to check on me and see how I was doing. And here I was dying. So before I know it, they told me that I would have to go back in again for surgery. Again, I was scared, and just seeing the look on my husband's face. And he was in the military, so he was very strong. He didn't cry. He didn't flinch. He was my rock. And there's an expression that the branch of military he was in, they have, and it just means always faithful. And it's the expression, my husband was a Marine, so the expression is called Semper Fi, which just means always faithful, and it's just kind of code for I'm here for you. And while we're waiting for me to get booked to get down to the ICU unit, to reschedule surgery for the next day, but just to get me stabilized, it was just a huge period of time. Maybe it was 30 minutes. I was very unstable, and I was dying. So I looked at my husband, and strong as a rock he was, and I said, I can't breathe. And I said, look, I need to close my eyes and take a rest. In other words, I was dying. And I said, I will promise you something. If I take a 10-second break and close my eyes and rest, and then I open my eyes and tell you, Semper Fi, will that be okay? And he says yes. So I did that. I shut my eyes and counted to 10, and my breathing was very slow. And I opened my eyes gently and looked at him and said, Semper Fi. And he responded with, Semper Fi. And we did that for about 30 minutes straight, back and forth. By that point, I was not aware of what was going on with my mom. And my mom was in the room, but at a certain point, my husband told her, get out. He didn't want her crying or reacting to affect me. It was incredible. And then they finally got me, they wheeled me back to where I was supposed to be, connected me with a lot of needles and IV tubes, and they gave me a pain button, which was phenomenal because I was split from 3 inches above my navel down to my pubic bone. And I had staples, and they thought they were done. So here I am in severe, tremendous pain, and they said, you can hit this button whenever you want. So I was like, yay! So I hit the button a few times, and after I hit it a little too much, they kind of took that away from me. So I had no pain medication. I was starving. As the night progressed, and I would say this is from about 1 p.m. The first operation was at 8 a.m. and it ended around noon. And then with trying to get me back stable, that period of time lapsed. And then they sent me to ICU. I think it was about 1 or 2 in the afternoon. And my next operation didn't happen until the next morning at 8 a.m. So from about 2 o'clock to about 8 a.m. the following morning, I was fighting for my life.
You needed 8 pints of blood, which is nearly 4 liters, while staying in the intensive care unit. You wrote to me that at that time you made a deal with God that you would go about the rest of your life differently. What did you decide needed to change?
Oh my gosh, good question. Well, just to let you know, from the moment I was in ICU, basically dying, at that time I contemplated, but I wasn't real clear headed at the time. I mean, I had pain medication in and out of my system. I had all kinds of substances to battle the infection I had. But I was just kind of off and on talking to God. And the first thing I said to God was, God, if you want to take me, that's your plan. And, I'm in your hands if that's the case. But if you keep me here, then I have more work to do. So the next morning, they came to me, the doctors. Oh, I skipped one important part. The doctors kept saying, we need to put a device in you near your heart, and it's called a central pick. And I said, because I was incoherent, I didn't want any more needles going in me, and I was in pain. I never acquiesced. And finally, they got my husband. They told him the dire situation that I would not be around if he didn't sign. So he signed for me to have a central pick, and the doctor came. He cut a hole in my skin, and he attached something to my heart, which was very dangerous, but it pretty much saved my life. That and the 8 pints of blood. But through that central pick, they were able to administer 8 pints of blood and not poke my arms because my veins had collapsed. Finally, when they got me back into surgery, I looked at my head doctor, Dr. Carlos, and I said, Dr. Carlos, will you pray for me? And he did. So that just gave me peace. And the doctors did their work. What had happened was I hemorrhaged. And once I came out of that second operation, I was back in my room, my original hospital room. And Miriam, I said to God, first of all, I am very sorry because this body is perfect. And this is the way you made me. And I did lots of things that I shouldn't have done. I had attempted to stop eating. Actually, I became anorexic, thinking I could shrink the mass in my abdomen. I was scared. Um, so many things. And I said, God, I am so sorry. I'm too young to die. I'm 35. And I said, I will never, ever do this again. So that was a promise I made. And I said, by the way, kind of like when you're writing a letter, postscript, P.S., dear God, if you give me the opportunity and you teach me how to take better care of myself, I will do that. And PSS, postscript script, I would love to help other people with the same techniques and the same tools that you teach me to take care of myself. I would love to do that for women all over the world.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And afterwards, you lost 60 pounds in your home, going from a size 18 to a size 2, and ended up being featured on TV in Oxygen magazine, and became a Jennifer Nicole Lee Fusion success story. How did you do that?
Oh my goodness. Thank you for asking. Well, again, I had no career in fitness whatsoever. I was a school teacher. And the funny part is, even after my operation, I was finishing up my college degree to be an elementary school principal. So that's a huge career difference, going from education, teaching little children, to being a fitness model and a personal trainer, et cetera, et cetera. So let's just go from after that prayer to God. I finished up my master's, and 11 months later, I got this impression, this message that I needed to certify as a personal trainer. So I got the message from God, and I said, what? You want me to be what? So I did. I filled out an application. I was selected among what I hear thousands of women. And I guess my story was a little unique and a little different. And I went and I met with our trainer, Jennifer Nicole, and got certified. And that was exciting. And at that point, let me let you know, I went from a normal sized girl with a tumor removed to I ballooned up to a size 18 because my husband, after the operation, fed me a lot of good, healthy food since I had scared him and had gone from anorexia to craziness. And so he meant absolutely well. He actually overfed me. And I just, standing in front of a fitness trainer, was just like, I'm an open book. Teach me whatever you need to, and I will go back to where I live, and I will do what I need to do. So after I left that empowering weekend, I came back home to Dallas, Texas. I dusted off 2 5-pound weights that were just on the floor in my closet, and I marked on my calendar. It was I could tell you the exact date. It was January 24th of 2010. And I wrote it on the calendar. It was just a 30-minute workout. And I committed that I was going to do that. And I filled in the remaining dates of that week. It was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And I chose Sunday. So Saturday would be my free day. But all those days at 6 a.m., from 6 to 6:30, I scheduled it in that I was going to do this workout. And that's exactly what I did. And the first week went by, and no fireworks went off. Nothing was exciting. I was just there by myself with these 2 weights trying to figure my way through this. And people laugh at me. The true story, Miriam, is I started working out in my living room at first on the carpet, but some of the cardio exercises would not work very well for me. I didn't have much traction. I had too many stopping points with my tennis shoes and the carpet. So guess where I did my workout? I did it in the kitchen on the tile floor. So, I just moved everything. I was tempted to stop again. I thought, oh my gosh, this is too hard for me. All those negative feelings, emotions. Who do I think I am? I'm no personal trainer. All these negative feelings. I'm supposed to be a teacher and a principal, and I just had to learn, Miriam, to shut those negative voices out of my head. I just want to let everyone know that it wasn't an overnight thing for me. I almost lost my life. I'd been battling for years, gaining weight, losing weight, growing a tumor. I looked in these magazines and Oxygen, and I thought, wow, are these real people? Who are these ladies? And oh, you have those presumptions that maybe some of what they're doing is not real. Maybe some of it is fake. Maybe they're using pills or they're having surgery. And I do admit that some of modeling and being a fitness person is what we call smoke and mirrors, which means we do a lot of primping. Um, we add false eyelashes or a little spray tan. Some of that is fake. But the truth is, you can't fake a good body. You have to work at it.
That's true.
And the work is just behind closed doors when no one's looking.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's the healthy I didn't learn nutrition right away. Obviously, as I'm exercising, I didn't know what to eat. But the magic for me, Miriam, was just to continue. Just to keep going. And the question is, did I have any hard days? Oh, yeah. But ultimately, one of the most popular questions that people ask me is, how long did it take to go from a size 18 to a 2? So I'd like to share that. From January 24th of 2010, I keep saying 2010. Actually, it was 2010. From that period to July, so that was 6 months. It took me 6 months to lose about 40 pounds. So that was exciting. I never in my wildest dreams thought that I would lose so much weight. And then I just continued further. I didn't plan on becoming a size 2. I thought that was crazy. But I liked the way that exercise made me feel, took me out of hard times. I couldn't control my finances at times, or I couldn't control my friendships, or maybe I had a hard, moment with a family member, and I couldn't really control those kinds of things. But I could control what I did with my body. And if I decided to work out that day, or if I did not want to work out that day, that was my control. And no one could take the weight off of me but me.
Absolutely.
So,
great mindset.
I just wanted to. Thank you.
Yeah, and then making a decision to live a healthy lifestyle and going on to lose 60 pounds is not an easy feat. What have been the most challenging aspects of your journey?
Oh, that's a wonderful question, Miriam. Really, the mental. The mental is definitely the hardest part of the journey. It's number one, believing. I had a very low self-esteem. I had a very hard childhood, and then going through the tumor whole shenanigans. That was a lot on my self-esteem. But just looking at myself in the mirror and saying that I'm worth it. It doesn't matter who I am, where I've come from. I am someone important and special. And I have an expression. It's what you do behind closed doors or in the dark, it comes out in the light. So if you're mean to yourself all day and you put yourself down every day, that's going to come out in how you talk to other people, whether it be your loved ones, your spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend. If you have children, it's going to show and reflect all the way to your career and your job. And it can harm a lot of things in your life.
Yeah, I agree. Yes. Looking back, what has been the single most impactful lesson you've learned through it all, and why?
Oh, single and most important lesson I've learned, that you're never too old. Never. You're never too old. You're never too young. I go as far, my passion for women and for their fitness goes very deep, as you can imagine, because I have that operation. But I say, you know what? Check your pulse. And if you feel that, that means it's not too late for you. And I meet people that I admire. I meet children that are passionate about taking care of themselves. Thank goodness they're learning. I meet people that are my age. I meet people that are older than me. And the most exciting thing is to meet someone with a positive attitude, because there's such a sentiment in our, at least where I live, and in the world really, that past a certain point, you're done. You're beyond your prime, whatever that might be. And so when I turned 30, that is that horrible feeling that I had about myself. I'm done. There's nothing I can contribute to this world. And I was 30. So at 35, I was blessed with a second chance to say that I count. And if I'm still alive, then I'm going to use my life to help other people, including myself. I can't help someone else before I help me. So if I can help me, there's nothing wrong with taking care of our bodies and our minds and our souls. A lot of women are trained from young children to think that taking care of ourselves is a bad thing, that it means that we're conceited, or we need to be simple and take care of other people before us. And that's not the truth, Miriam. The only way that we can nurture other people in our world is by taking care of us first.
Absolutely.
We have to be our own mother.
What do you do differently today to stay fit and healthy?
Oh, goodness. Well, it's hilarious. It's so funny, Miriam. After all this time, yes, I have my hard days where I just want to eat anything that has chocolate with it.
Me too.
But my life looks so different than it did even a year ago, even 3 years ago, even 4 years ago when I started losing the weight. I write everything down in advance. I write down my nutrition for the day. In fact, I type it up as a document. At 8 o'clock, I'm going to eat this for breakfast. 2 hours later, I'm going to have this particular breakfast snack. I have it all planned out. I'm not perfect, but I do put in a cheat day, and I actually document my workouts in advance so that I don't have that excuse. And there's been times where my schedule's kind of wild or an emergency comes up, but I still make sure that I work out. Even if it's late at night, it might be in my bedroom with my 5-pound dumbbells, or I have a big stability ball and I'll just do a quick 10 to 15-minute workout just to get it in. But the other thing is, even though I'm considered fit, I still have to remind myself of why I do what I do. Otherwise, I'd fall off track. And I have to remind myself that a little bit of muscle soreness is good, that it's not an excuse to quit. And when I get grouchy, or depending on what my fitness endeavor is, I am a bikini competitor, and I've done some figure competitor, being a competitor on stage in bodybuilding, that my body is not a machine. It's a live thing. So sometimes when I'm a little like I need more carbs, and that's the point I am of my competition, that maybe that just means I need more sleep. Maybe I need to drink more water. I always check in with my trainer at that time and just say, I'm having a really hard time. So just being real with myself, and not telling myself that I'm too old to do anything, because I'm now 39. I've made the decision to be fit for the rest of my life. It's just a personal decision. I want to look down the road in 2 to 5 years, even 10, maybe even 20 years, if God allows me to be around that long, that I can fully say that I am in shape. And it's just really for me. It's not a vanity issue. It's not like, oh, I want to, look hot. That's just a side benefit to everything, is looking and feeling attractive in your clothing.
And today you are fit and strong and are dedicating a lot of your time to helping other women get in the best shape of their lives. What drives you to wanting to help others?
What drives me is I want every woman to feel like I do. And there's no other feeling than just being able to gift someone with the opportunity to have better health. There's nothing that matches that. No dollar, no amount of fame matches being able to authentically help a woman by empowering her and then giving her the tools to get what she needs in her life.
And you're doing such a great job, Nissa.
Thank you.
I know you want to inspire others to believe in themselves. What does belief mean to you, and how can someone gain a stronger sense of belief in themselves?
Oh, that's a great question, Miriam. Thank you. Well, first of all, belief in yourself means knowing that you are a child that is perfect. Whatever spirituality that you have in your life, that you are special, you're born here for a purpose. Everyone is here for that. So belief means knowing that you're worth it, to know that you're not perfect. And you're never going to be perfect. I hate to tell you this.
Right.
And just being able to be patient with yourself. Patience is huge. If you can't forgive yourself, then you're never going to be able to get to meet your goals, at least your fitness goals. So if you can remind yourself that at any age, you're not going to have it all figured out.
I agree. Yeah.
There are going to be times where you're going to eat an extra piece of cake or you're going to promise yourself a certain type of workout and it's just not going to happen. And the biggest advice I can say is just say, oh well, and move on. I'll do better tomorrow, just to be able to start again and to keep your eyes on your goal. One more thing, you always want to keep progressing in your particular goals because we get bored. So you don't have to want a size 2, but maybe you want a little bit more energy than what you've already gained, or you want a little bit more strength. You can actually progress and become stronger. Maybe you want to lose just a little bit more fat within a healthy range. Reach for that goal. Or you might try a new fitness endeavor. Maybe you've never been a runner, and that might interest you. That doesn't interest everybody.
Yeah.
But just always knowing that you're never too old to get in shape, and you always want to raise the bar higher. Maybe you've lost the weight, but you want to change your diet because you've learned that there's lots of different types of nutrition plans out there, from paleo, which is very popular now, to something called primal. There's vegetarianism, veganism. You can sample and you can change your diet any way you want to help you feel better and look better.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your advice. Where can people best go to connect with you online?
Oh, that's a wonderful question. I love to be emailed directly. My email is nissasalasfitness@gmail.com. So I'll spell that. It's N as in Nancy, I, S as in Sam, S as in Sam, A, S as in Sam, A, L as in look, A, S as in Sam, and then the word fitness, FITNESS, @gmail.com. I do have a website. It's Nissa Salas Fitness. So we are constructing some different things on that. So be patient with us. But I'm so excited if anyone that's listening and watching this particular video wants to reach out to me. I'd love to help inspire them. And Miriam, I appreciate you allowing me to be a part of your show. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And I will make sure to put your links below this video as well.
Okay.
Yeah. And in closing, is there anything else you would like to share today, Nissa?
No, I just want to tell everyone, if it happened for me, getting in shape and having the body of my dreams, if that can happen for me, especially in my late 30s, then it can happen for anyone. So don't ever give up hope. You want to just know that there are a lot of people that have before and afters. And if you, as a woman or as a person, desire a different physique, you can have it. You're just going to be the next success story in the world. That's all. And that will inspire a lot of people.
Thank you so much, Nita. It was an absolute pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you so much for watching. My name is Miriam Khalladi. For more inspiration, check out our book at realtalkrealwomen.com.